Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And welcome into NESN Bets Kickoff. Travis Thomas here with my main man, Sam Panayotовich, here inside the PNC studio. And you know the only thing better than one Monday Night Football game is two Monday Night Football
I was
games.
going to say two big guys at a little table, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. As you see, it's a lot of square footage being taken up by big bodies. But hey, we have some big bodies on the field. Panthers hosting the Saints. Little NFC South showdown. How about the line in this? Saints favored by 3. Total, pretty low, 39.5. Talk to me.
We're going to be heads up on this one, just so you know.
Lord,
I took 3. I was happy to take 3 in a game that I think should be Saints 1. You know, It's hard for me to lay points with Derek Carr. It's hard for me to take points with Derek Carr, for that matter. Like, I didn't usually bet him when he was in Vegas, and now that he's that short road primetime favorite, it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So I think these two teams are a lot closer to the middle, which would tell you that this line should probably be, closer to a pick 'em, and that's basically where I'm at. I was impressed with Bryce Young in his first game against Atlanta.
Yeah.
That win for Atlanta looks better for Carolina when Atlanta beats Green Bay.
Sure.
Right? Atlanta's undefeated now. So I think there's a lot to like with Bryce Young. He can obviously throw it. I think he can take off and run as well. I think the versatility for Carolina is better than New Orleans.
It's interesting because I'm so high on the Saints, yet I sit here and I hear you dissect them. And on one hand, where I disagree with the Derek Carr stuff and the Saints end of the spectrum for you, I do agree with the Panthers side of things. I like the rookie quarterback in Bryce Young. I like the direction the Panthers are going. I think they have a young defense that flies around, makes plays. I like them. I like the head coach and Frank Reich. But the difference to me in this game is you upgraded at quarterback, the New Orleans Saints I'm talking about. You went from Andy Dalton to Carr. You did it because the roster is willing and able to win right now. You are ready to win right now. You're getting Kamara back eventually, but so you have the running game. You check that off. They have weapons on the outside. They have the defense. I think you go get Carr because you're going for it in a very winnable division in the NFC South. I mean, you and I argue all the time about New Orleans or Atlanta, but let's face facts. It's not a good division. I think we're both in agreement there. So I think the Saints are going for it here with this team.
Sure.
That's why tonight I will lay the 3 against a rebuilding on the come-up Panthers team, but the Saints are ready-made turnkey right now.
How confident are you?
Okay. I am never fully confident.
That's one point.
Although I like him, I'm never fully confident in Derek Carr because, unlike you, I did bet on him a lot when he was in Vegas, and he had some stinkers. But he also had some games, too, where he covered for you or he won as a dog or whatever. So I have a mixed bag with him. Scale of 1 to 10 of confidence. I'm at a 7 tonight. I'm at a 7. And I think that's fair.
Okay. Prop-wise, I will bet the following. Bryce Young over 9.5 rushing yards. I know we have his passing yardage on the graphic, 189.5. Passing touchdown number, 0.5, so he needs basically 1. But I look at the rushing number at 9.5. He had 17 last week. Now, he's not a run-first guy by any stretch of the imagination. But when the pocket collapses, he's very shifty. He can make a man miss and then turn it upfield. And there's a very real possibility Bryce Young can get me 10 yards on one run. So if he's going to move about the cabin against the Saints defense that does what? Bring pressure.
Yeah, they do.
That's going to bring him up on the rushing side. And then also, if you take a 7-yard sack, that's not -7 rushing yards.
That's right.
That's -17 passing yards. So he just has to get me to 10, and I'll be okay, assuming they don't take a knee late in the game and land 8. But I like Young over 9.5, and then I'm sure you're going to talk about Jamal Williams for the Saints.
Yeah.
He faced one of the toughest run defenses in football last week.
Yeah.
What he did last week will seem a lot easier this week.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're not running through a very stingy D line. I look at his rush yard prop, 57.5. I would go over that.
Over. I'd go over it as well. I also sprinkled a little anytime touchdown for him at plus 115. here's my thinking, and you said this. I watched that game last week against the Titans. Titans, very solid defense. We know Vrabel can coach. They're a tough out no matter who they play, right? So, sure enough, I thought the Saints did a good job committing to the run. They were giving him the carries. Mm-hmm. He was just ineffective because of that defense. So I think tonight they commit to the run again. In fact, and as I was talking about Derek Carr, this is the formula for the Saints. Just run the damn ball, play good defense, and don't ask Carr to do too much. Then you won't get into trouble. I think we see that tonight a little more in earnest than they did against the Titans. I think tonight Williams has a big game, anytime touchdown, over on the rushing yards. But we know he's just buying time till they get the playmaker, Kamara, back. But I do like Williams to have a big game tonight. Here's another few. Olave, 69.5 receiving yards for him. I think he could go over that. He's our top guy. Michael Thomas, 50.5 receiving yards. Don't look now, Sammy P. He is healthy, and he is playing well. He had a big game in the first week as well.
So that's Carr over, Williams over, Olave over, Thomas over. Who do you have winning the division?
The Saints. Also, did I mention I'm laying the 3 with the Saints
Can we talk about the next game?
Yes, we can. Let's move on. Steelers hosting the Browns. This one, Nuck if you buck, rivalry. I mean, this is going to be a tough game. All right, right now, Browns favored by 2. How about this total? 38.5.
Right, I actually have on my cheat sheet,
I
have the
here.
big circle around 38.5 with a red arrow going down toward the ground where this game will be played.
Yes.
We think about the physicality of both defensive lines.
Yeah.
Look at what Cleveland did to Cincinnati last week. Just shut them down.
They did.
3 points for the, $1 million baby, Joe Burrow, who's now on the shelf, it sounds like, for a little bit.
Right.
But I look at the way that these offenses are built. Power football, run it first. You got Najee Harris and Nick Chubb. The quarterbacks are sort of secondary, even though Watson is better than Pickett at this point in time.
Sure.
These are run-first offenses behind pressure-packed defenses that control the line.
Yeah.
So where do the big plays come from? I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to throw a 60-yard touchdown tonight.
No.
And sure, Deshaun Watson could. Amari Cooper's supposed to play. But I feel like this is a field position, muck it up, black and blue, 17-13 final, and I don't know who wins.
Okay, I agree with everything you said, except I'll take a shot here with the Steelers. By the way, on the money line, bro, plus 110. Mm-hmm. Look, I think the game script is right on. In fact, we'll get into player props in a second, but I think they're going to be running the ball all over the place on both sides of the field tonight. A lot of punts, a lot of 3-and-outs, field goals. It will be an ugly, low-scoring game. I lean under, even though this total, my God, 38.5. Everything in me says to go over just because it's so low. But I agree with you. It'll be a rock fight. So I lean under there. It's just going to be a no play. I'll take my shot instead with the Steelers to win the game. And here's the other part of this. I do agree with you that Deshaun Watson is a better player than Kenny Pickett. However, with what I'm seeing from Deshaun right now, he still does not seem like the Deshaun of old. Mm-hmm. He did play better last week, but until he returns to form, if ever, I don't know if I can fully trust him. So Pickett, I think, in a sense of urgency spot here for the Steelers. Tomlin will have these guys ready to go. Remember, they got housed last week at home against the 49ers. No shame in that because the Niners, we understand how elite level they are. But you can't in this league, as we know around here, start 0-2. I just think the Steelers are too talented for that. So I like them at home. This is just a spot to take a shot for me.
The only Steelers action I'll have tonight, actually I have 2. I'm going to give you a little snippet at the end with my touchdown bets. You know I love the touchdown bets.
Yeah.
Without Deontay Johnson, there's usage to be had for one of the Steeler receivers. And we could talk about Allen Robinson if you want. I'd rather not.
Me either.
He just can't separate anymore at his old age.
Right.
And he's not that old.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Look at George Pickens.
Yep.
43.5. Now, he didn't get to 40 last week, but you had Deontay Johnson out there for 70% of the snaps.
Right.
He's out tonight.
Yeah.
So somebody has to elevate on that side of the ball. And we know Kenny Pickett can actually throw it. He can zip it. They had a really nice bond in the preseason. We were trying to figure out a nickname for Pickett to Pickens, the Pickett line or whatever, the Pickens line. 43.5 is a low number, but if he gets 6-7 targets, He's probably going to get there. So I like the over on Pickens, but this is not a prop game for me because I like the under.
Yeah.
In the game, under 38.5. So I'm not going to be firing props when I don't like a lot of action.
I do want to get to those touchdown bets, but I will say this, because it's an under game, because the defense should be on full display here, for props, I'm on the running backs. Nick Chubb, this is a high number, but this is Nick Chubb we're talking about. 83.5 rushing yards. I would go over there. I think the key in this game is the Steelers, hey, if he goes over that number, fine. It's Nick Chubb. What are you going to do? Here's the key. You have to keep him out of the end zone, and you certainly have to keep him from those home run runs,
it's
right?
Like, we'll give MJ 50.
That's it.
We'll give Kobe 50.
That's it.
And then we'll make somebody else beat us.
Precisely. So I think Chubb goes over that number, but they got to keep him out of the end zone. And then Najee Harris. 52.5 rushing yards, all I keep doing. And I can't imagine how Steelers fans must feel, because all I keep doing is waiting for this guy to take the next step. Now, in full disclosure and kind of taken up for him, the offensive line is atrocious and has been for many moons. However, the kid's talented. And I think tonight in a game like this, he goes over 52.5 rushing yards.
If you watched NESN Bet's Kickoff yesterday, we did a show at 3.
Yep.
We did a second show at 7. We talked about this guy to score a touchdown at 8-1.
Yes.
It was Josh Dobbs.
Yes.
We hit it.
Yes.
It was nice.
Yes.
It was a nice cash. So let's go down the board tonight. Obviously, Chubb and Harris are expensive to score.
Sure.
When you look at the night game, or the first game rather, it's Olave, like probably Miles Sanders. Those are going to be the guys up the board. But if you go to the nightcap with Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Pat Freiermuth.
Oh.
The tight end is always open.
Muth.
So I can bet Freiermuth. FanDuel has plus 340.
Come on.
Okay? MGM has 290, DraftKings 250, Caesars 240. So this conversation always revolves around getting the right number. Yesterday, one book had Dobbs at 5, another had Dobbs at 8. Pat Freiermuth at FanDuel is plus 340 to catch a touchdown.
Oh,
I guess cross the goal line if they want to power run him. He's going to get at least 2 targets inside the red zone.
Oh, no question.
So I'm betting Freiermuth to score at plus 340.
Come on, small hands, Kenny Pickett. Get it to him, would you? Hey, I wouldn't mind looking. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I wouldn't mind looking at Njoku for the same type thing because, again, the tight ends are always open. In a game where points could be a premium, right? Defensive, stronghold type game.
Well, those play-action passes to the tight end because everybody collapses on Harris and Chubb.
Right.
You put 7-8 in the box, you commit to the run, and then the tight end is wide open in the back of the end zone. So Njoku, Freiermuth, whatever.
Here's my last question for you. Moving forward out of these two teams, because I'm looking right now, the Bengals are a mess. Ravens are doing what the Ravens do. Out of these two teams, when the smoke clears, who do you trust more big picture? Tomlin and the Steelers, or maybe Deshaun regains form in the Browns?
I like the Browns defense.
You do?
Jim Schwartz has come in there. He's moving Myles Garrett all over the field.
He is.
They brought in Zadarius Smith. I mean, you have to get to the quarterback in this league.
Okay.
You have to get to the quarterback in that division.
Yeah.
With Burrow and Lamar Jackson, that defense is legit.
Yeah.
And I think they have just a little more on offense because of Nick Chubb.
All right, enjoy the games tonight. NESN Bets Kickoff, by the way, we'll be with you Thursday night as well. All the games, we got it all covered. Don't even worry about it. For Travis Thomas and Sammy P, enjoy Monday.